Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of JD's Corner. Today is going to be something a little bit different. The topic is on the medical profession. This is something that I lived through firsthand on what the medical profession did to mess up one human being, just one. I can't imagine how many more out there have a story similar to this. So we'll start it as way back when I was a young man. I was 24 years old. I met this lady. Her name was Francesca. Great woman. Before she met me, she had 2 children. The boy was a big child, and she was a small lady. And after birth, she hemorrhaged really bad. The doctors told her before she had the baby, if the baby lives, you're probably going to die, and if you live, the baby's got to die. She chose her son's life. So on the delivery table, she hemorrhaged out real bad. The doctors decided to give her, it was supposed to be a partial hysterectomy. They didn't. Instead, they gave her a full hysterectomy, but they didn't tell her. That comes out later on. So she lived through the hemorrhage. She got a little bit older. Now, when you have a total hysterectomy, it takes away a lot of your hormones that are in your body, and you start to lose them, which starts to decline the body in many different ways. So as the years went on, she developed a small problem called acid reflux, and the acid was so bad in her stomach it was coming up to her esophagus and it was burning a hole through it. At this time, her and I had met. We were dating for a while. We were actually started living together, and I got to experience and see firsthand what sickness was like in the body. Me personally, before her, I never was sick my entire day, and I really haven't been sick so much now. I couldn't understand where all the acid was coming from. I changed her diet on her. I learned about nutritions to give her, etc. Well, it turned out that I believe it was her uterus fell out of her body. We had to take her back in the hospital and have it re-put back in. She also has her bladder suspended in her body in a mesh net because it fell apart. So these things are all playing a role in her being affected, and nobody understood why everything was falling apart like it was. So years down the road, we're looking at maybe 10 years. She's already been through 2 cancer scares, and both of them, the doctor said they were sure it was cancer. Turned out it wasn't. Stressed her out and worried her for nothing. You take a biopsy and you just let them know. You don't tell somebody, yes, it's cancer when you're not sure. But no, these doctors, I don't care if they were American, if they were Chinese, if they were from India, it doesn't matter. Our doctors are not there to care about you. They're only there to collect your money. And you need to always remember that. They're not always right. Go back and recheck your doctor. Interview your doctor like you would a good boss. Not all doctors are created equal, and not all of them are in there to actually help people. Some of them are in it for just the money, and some of them are in it for the glory of being God, as they would call it. And they're not. They're just a bunch of arrogant jackasses. So anyway, the acid reflux over the years got so bad that it started to eat a hole through her esophagus, and they had to do something radical. They were either going to have to take her esophagus out and take her stomach lining and try and attach it to her throat. And if they couldn't do that, which more than likely she would have died from, or we could try bariatric surgery. Now at the time, the bariatric surgery was many, many years earlier than what it is today. And we went through all the paperwork, did all the mental testing, etc. I told her I'd be there to support her no matter what, and I'd help her through it. So we agreed. The day come, we drive up to Ann Arbor, Michigan. She died twice on the operating table. She had so much scar tissue in her that it took them almost 16 hours to do the surgery. They removed all of her stomach except a 4-ounce pouch, and then lift a little tiny hole about the size of an M&M. And that's where food was to be consumed in your mouth, chewed up, and go down and fall through. Now, if you ate anything like chicken or turkey base that's stringy, sometimes it'll go down and it'll cover the hole, and it'll feel like you're being choked. You can't breathe at all. You can't get no air in, and you have to force it back up through that little tiny stomach, and it's extremely painful. So Anyway, after her surgery was done, the doctor had come to me and said she had a medical problem that nobody knew about. Turned out when she got her hysterectomy done, the doctors left the fallopian tube sitting inside her body, rotting out for almost 15 years before it was found. And it did a lot of damage to her insides. Of course, she's a good woman, but she chose not to sue, and I did everything I could, but it's not my case, and she just didn't want to sue the doctor. She just wanted to, glad it was over with, and thought she was going to do better. So this surgery was life-threatening in many ways. She died twice. I brought her back. It took me almost 8 years to heal her from the surgery, and I can't explain why. I know it's not supposed to take that long, but her body, it was like fighting and rejecting everything the whole way. It didn't want the diet plan or nothing. I had to change my diet to sit and eat the same foods, the same nasty smoothies, everything, so she wouldn't feel like she's all alone while I'm eating a nice burger. I didn't eat that stuff in front of her ever. I didn't even leave the smell on me so it wouldn't affect her. When I went home, I always made sure whatever she was having for dinner, whatever I made, I was eating with her so that she didn't have to eat alone. And as the times went on, the drain plug drained the rest of the old stomach out, and there was a wound in there. And the drain plug was there, so we had to go back up to Ann Arbor, Michigan. So this is weeks down the road, and we go to Michigan, and the doctor couldn't get the drain plug out. Now, the doctor that did the surgery came in, saw this young doctor trying to pull it and prod it to get it to come loose. And he's like, that's not how you do it. He put his hand on her chest, he grabbed the tube, and he ripped it completely out of her. And trust me when I tell you, that is how the fight started. I got so fucking pissed off, I almost went to jail. She screamed and yelled, not cool. That's not a doctor. He doesn't care. There's a lot of them like that out there. So now she's got this big long scar on her. She's got this scar going this way on her. She's got a stomach missing out of her. She can't eat right. She's dropping weight constantly. It turns out that while they were also inside, when I met Francesca, to back up a minute, she weighed about 121 pounds. And over the years that we knew one another, she got up to almost 260 pounds. She was only 4'11" and a half. Turned out when the doctors did one of her surgeries, nobody knows which one, there's a valve, I guess, in your bladder that opens and closes to help you go pee. Well, somehow the valve got shut, and it was holding urine in, and her body could not get it to pass out. She was only trickling, and nobody ever knew why. And it turned out that her body found a way to absorb the urine into her skin, and that's what made her swell. And there were times when it got really hot out, or she sweated, and you could push on her skin, and water would just run out of her skin, and you'd have to wipe it down, and she had to shower because it smelled. Nobody knew why. Another problem a doctor did to her. And this isn't it. There's more. So we're fast forwarding a couple more years that I've helped her get through all of this. She's finally back up on her feet. It's like 8-9 years later. I have this trailer, and I stay out there all summer long. I used to bartend and bounce at this place called E-City. And I had her drop me off. She wanted to watch the Olympics, and I didn't have TV out where I was at. I didn't believe in it. This was time for activity, for nature, for everything, to stay healthy, to keep myself fit, chop wood, meditate, write, everything. So there was no TV. So I told her, well, just drop me off the trailer. I'll go to work, and I'll see you after the Olympics are over. So she decided to drop me off, and when she was driving back to home, there was a place on Route 3, and there's a Hawks Nest golf course. It's on one side, and the intersection comes this way, and the straight-on section comes this way. Now, the kid that pulled up to the intersection was supposed to stop, but he didn't because he was only 18 years old and he was drunk. And when he crossed the median, she hit him in the driver's side door at 60 miles an hour, and she killed him, and she killed the passenger, which was the mother. There's a little baby that was in the back seat. I was told survived. I was told hadn't, so I don't know the real answer to that. And the person that bought the liquor, I guess, was in the driver's side in the back, and he got out of it scot-free. Now, after she hit, the impact, it lifted her up completely over the top of the steering wheel, and right where the roof meet and the glass meet, she hit her head in the back hemisphere, and it took her from a 3-digit IQ to nothing. She had no concept how to read, write, spell, add, subtract, none of it. No cooking, anything. I'm at work, I get the phone call that the accident happened. I had to go to Worcester Hospital. I left my place. I had a 100-mile drive, and I was there in about 28 minutes, I believe it was. And I walked in, and they were getting ready to wheel her out on the gurney. And I looked all around for her, and I happened to see her look up. She saw me and felt me, and I saw her. And she looked like somebody drug her down 500 miles of bad road. She was beat to shit from the accident. The seatbelt came across, and it almost cut her breasts off. They say it's what saved her life. It destroyed, it tore, it broke ribs, it cracked things all over her. Her foot got caught under the gas pedal when it came down. When she came down on it, the gas pedal crushed all the bones in her foot. The doctor said it was so bad that there was just powder. There was nothing to do surgery on it. All they could do was put it in a cast and let it heal. So after they put her in this cast, they let it heal, and over time I'm taking care of her, back and forth to doctors, 7, 8 a week in all different parts of the state of Ohio, from one place to another. And on top of that, going back and forth with lawyers that turned out not to be worth a pound of shit in the first place. So the doctors went in after her healing process was over with, and they cut the cast off, and the foot still had not healed. So they decided to put it in an air cast this time and then pump it up so she couldn't bump it against anything, but the air cast was too tight. And she kept telling them that, and they didn't listen. And as a result, now she's got RSD in her foot. And it's a nerve disorder that as your nerves die and they slowly work their way up, it can get into any organs, it can get into your eyes, it gets into your brain, it can cause gangrene. Basically, your body parts are dying from this disease. And not to mention, it is non-stop pain of something you've probably never experienced before in your life. To give you an idea, just take about 3 of your teeth out of your mouth and let them nerves hang, and then just keep spraying them and tingling with cold water and tapping on them and every other thing. And when you feel the nerve just drive you insane, now multiply that by trillions, and that's what that pain feels like all day long, every solitary day. So the doctors didn't know what to do, and they said they were sorry, and they started filling her full of narcotics. Now she's got Oxycontin and all this other stuff that's doing nothing to help her foot but getting her addicted to a pill. And over time it did. No matter what we tried, no matter what we did, it's been 20 years, she still has the RSD. She still can barely walk. She has suffered an immense amount of pain. The kid that was driving was an underinsured motorist, so the only thing she had, which she was lucky, was an umbrella policy on her policy, which covered it and gave her X amount of dollars. It wasn't enough to do jack squat with, though, not for what it did to ruin her life forever because of a drunk driver. And then the doctors, they just made it worse. They compounded problems and injuries in a way you couldn't imagine. She had no concept of anything, and literally all of their specialists, all of their therapists, none of them could help her. And I wasn't going to let the woman that I loved die and go out that way. It wasn't happening. So I lived down the street from the library, and I had my first computer. And I sat down and I started understanding what was wrong with her and reading about it and doing in-depth detail and getting every kind of book there was on brain trauma and car accidents and memory loss. And I started designing a way to help her. And every day I'd spend some time with her, and we did flashcards, and I started with simple things, and I started with simple kinds of video games to get her motor coordinations going, and I started with simple kind of stories that I could read to her that she could comprehend, and then start teaching her to read back to me. And then as the time progressed, I taught her how to drive again. I made her feel secure behind the wheel again. I helped her with her diet and the way she looked, and I taught her how to dress again and how to do makeup, and I had to go learn how to do hair so I could teach her how to do hair. There was so much. It was like raising a child all over again because of a drunk driver. And the doctors, they just kept making it worse. Fast forward a couple more years down the road, the doctors call me on the phone, and she's in Virginia. She went to go meet a bunch of people that she knew in a chat room, and while she was there, she ended up with a really bad kidney disease. This disease just about killed her. I get a phone call and say, JD, Francesca's in the hospital in Fairfax, Virginia, and she's dying. She's not going to make it. We've done everything we possibly can, and we've got a specialist coming in to try one more thing, but it's not hopeful that she'll survive. She's got a really bad kidney infection, and if you need to say goodbye to her, she's calling for you. Well, freaked me right out. Jump right in my car, fly all the way there, get in there, and I walk in, and I could actually feel, I could smell death in that back room. And I could just, it was all around her, and she looked like she was about ready to die. And the minute she saw me, I told her, you're going to be okay, and you're coming home with me. And I sat in a hard chair next to her for 10 solid days. I talked with her, I bathed her, I sponge bathed her, I fed her, I made her giggle and laugh, I taught her things, I made her forget her problem, I gave her body a chance to heal. I didn't let the doctors do anything except what they had to do and nothing more. Everything else, I did. I got her up walking. 15 days later, to make a long story short, I took her home. The doctor said this was totally impossible, but it's not. Love, care, and understanding of what a person needs will get you more than any medical profession. Now, we're going a couple more years down the road, and her and I are no longer together. Our 17-year span as a couple is over with. But our friendship is still intact today, and it'll always be intact. We make great friends. There was just too much in our life to give us the opportunity to make everything work. But that doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't make her a bad person. We started out as friends first, and we ended up that way, and that's very important to me. She is an amazing woman. To any man that would be lucky enough to run into her, God bless you, because if you don't treat her right, I'm going to fucking kill you. Now, back to the story. She had a stroke. She's had 3 strokes now. We had to fight to get her a full disability, which we got, but it's not enough to live on. So, everybody's got to help her life out, or what? You just throw her in a hole in a dumpy old place and say, here, this is what the government gives you and says it's called living in life? No. So, we all pitched in. We all got her something. She's got a place to stay. She's got a roof over her head. She's doing really well. The 3 strokes, it messed her up mentally, really bad. 2 of them I brought her back from. She had trouble with her hands, and we started working with her hands, and she was in a hospital for rehab for almost 6 months, and that was really hard, and she was like back-to-back strokes 3 or 4 months apart, and now it's been a while. But during the process of that, the doctors gave her pills and told her to go to sleep, and they left the tray in front of her bed over her, and the pills, the minute she took them, knocked her out. She fell forward, busted her head on the table, and broke her front teeth out. As a result, she had to have all of her teeth removed now, and she's waiting for them to heal so that she can have dentures in her mouth. Now, how is that right? These are the doctors that did it. There was no proof of it. There was no documentation. It's a long story, but basically nothing happened again. So our medical profession screwed her up again. They've done everything they can to help rehab her, but again, they screwed her up. Me, I'm not a doctor, not of any sort, of any way a healer am I. I am a good man that understands what the power of love can do, and I understand what driving determination to keep someone alive can do, and to the extent you're willing to go. I get that. Now, does other people? I don't know. Doctors, they don't care. They just want your money. They want to write you a prescription. Here, take a pill. Leave me alone. Here, go see this doctor. He's my buddy. He'll take care of you. And then he gives you a few more pills. And then they say, oh, here's another prescription. Go see my buddy over there. And it's just a never-ending cycle. And after you're done spending all of that money, whether you have insurance or you don't, it doesn't cover everything. You pay for the test this doctor wanted, the test that doctor wanted, all the pills that they wanted, the test this one wants. Then they want you to go get some mental counseling done because you're hurt, you're depressed, things are not going well in your life. So now you're paying $200 an hour for that. And for what? Do they help you? Nope. Not one doctor in my entire life have I ever seen do anything good to help another human being. And I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but I have been around the medical profession since I was 24 years old, and I swear to you, I've never once seen one person have anything that happened. When my mom died, the doctor looked at my dad and told my dad, said, your mom's got a weak lower valve in her heart, but it's not so serious. We need to do anything with it. If anything will come of it, she'll already have died before we need to replace it. They said that at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and at 9 o'clock that same night, she died because that valve went on. The one that the doctor said she'll outlive. Well, she did, and it killed her. I don't think people realize the extent of what damage doctors do. They're not all good. You shouldn't go in there and just walk into the first one and let them touch you. I don't even care if you're in the ER and the doctor on duty doesn't make you feel good. You tell them, no, you're not touching me, find somebody else. That is your prerogative and your right. Remember, it's your body. They're going to screw up. They don't have to live with their damage. You have to live with everything that they do to you. So it's your responsibility to make sure it's as minimal as possible. There are no good feelings in my body at all for the medical profession in any way, shape, or form. From the time I broke my neck, my back, and my shoulder, they did absolutely nothing to help me, and I swear to you that is 100% true, except take x-rays and fill me full of pills. That's all they knew how to do. They wanted money that I didn't have, and because I didn't have it, our medical profession was not willing to help me. Now, how is that right? I'm an American citizen. I was offered a full disability, and I said no. I turned it down. And why? Because I wanted to work. I don't feel like I was disabled. I feel like I'm hurt, and I am hurt, and I'm still hurt. I'm hurt bad. I'm hurt. The last 3 days, I've barely been able to move. I've been smoking my CBD oil, and I've been drinking to keep everything numb so I can just get up and walk. The doctors, all they want to do is give me muscle relaxers and opiates to numb the pain, but that's not going to take it away. I want it fixed. I don't want it to be numb so that 3 hours later I got to take more pills. I don't want that. I've had that in my life once. I don't ever want it again. Francesca, she's had it in her life. They just load her full of pills. I mean, 120 milligrams of just Oxycontin alone a day. Just think about that, 120 milligrams. Not to mention there's still Vicodins or Percocets that they give her and every other kind of painkiller and numbing agent and muscle relaxer and blood thinners. These are all pills going through your body, and you don't know what they're going to do to affect you. Our doctors, they come up with a new pill every couple of months, and it goes out into the world, and they start showing you all the great things with it on TV. What you don't realize is if you just be quiet and listen to all of the side effects. And these side effects are going to affect you so that this pill can help one thing on you. And I guarantee you there's probably an all-natural way to get the same result without the side effects. But are you willing to go look for it? Probably not. However, is our doctors, is our country willing to have a holistic doctor look at you and let insurance pay for it? In most cases, again, no, they won't do it. So you're on your own. There's many books. I recommend a book by Dr. Earl Mendel, The Vitamin Bible, and it's an herb Bible also, and it gives you a bunch of herbs in there that can really help your body out. I recommend everybody get a copy of it and look at it. It should be your Bible in your home. The guy is the foremost in the world on herbs. That's what helped me heal my body. That's what helped me be able to do things that I can't normally do. Even though I'm not 100%, I'm not bedridden. Even though I'm not 100%, I can still get up and walk. I'm not just stuck sitting somewhere. So I'm farther ahead. The doctors, all they want to do is make a vegetable out of me. And that's really what they did do. My body just became accustomed to it, and I didn't know it. And when I quit taking all the pills, it felt like I walked right out of a fog, and everything opened up in my life. And I'm like, wow. This is where I'm at 20 years later. This sucks. This is not where I planned my life to be. My life had a different route and a different meaning. I lost my martial arts career, everything. I was going to be a fighter. I was really good at what I did. Doesn't happen for me, okay? I got thrown a curveball. Yes, I've made it, and yes, I put a roof over my head and everything else, and I've done really well in my life. I need something more now. My body's hurting too much. I need somebody to come out and see me for who I am, see my camera presence, my thought pattern, everything, and find a way to help me find work. I need that, and I'm asking the world if you'll do that for me. I do all these little blogs. These are experiences I've been through in my life, and I've seen what happens, and I try to warn people of the fault and the badness in this world, and ways to keep yourself better, make yourself healthy. I try to bring people to God. This is very important. I know there's somebody out there that's going to see one of these videos someday, and please don't hesitate to get a hold of me. I'm willing to try anything that it takes. I don't want a full disability. I want to work till my last day. I enjoy working because what I do most of the time is help others, and for me that's not a job then. For me it's excitement. I love to do things to make other people's lives better. I have so much knowledge in my head, so I use it on these tapes. The medical profession, in my opinion, it's good and you need it, I understand it, but they're not all the same. Don't go to your first MD. Don't go to your first hospital. Look them up, understand them. Before the emergency even happens, have a plan of where you're going to go and what doctors you're going to see. If you can have a family doctor that you like, that's good for you and your family, then you stick with him, because that one person, it's like, will always know what's wrong with your body. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but let's say you have your car and you take it to Midas and they fix one thing. Then you take it over to Goodyear, they fix something else a few years down the road. You take it to Jiffy Lube, they do something else for it. Then you take it back to Meineke and they do something else to it. And your car's never right because you have all these different mechanics with all their different opinions doing all this different shit to your car, and it never feels good. Find one mechanic, take care of him, pay him well. Make sure he's your best friend and let him work on your car. It'll run smooth. Well, the same goes with your body. Find one doctor. He'll know everything about your body. He'll see changes and understand things before you do if you see him on a normal, regular basis like you're supposed to. Not everybody's going to do that. I get it. Not everybody can afford it. Right here. I haven't seen, other than the pain management doctor to give me my pills, I haven't seen or had a physical since I was 18 years old. I feel healthy, I look healthy, and I can do most things most can't do, so I guess I'm okay. But I do watch what I eat and what I intake in me. The opiates and stuff, they were really bad on my body, but I did take a lot of herbs and stuff. Like, it's really horrible on your liver, and your liver is like the toxic dump in your body. So I started taking milk thistle, and milk thistle is to detoxify your liver, and it'll help clear it up. It is one of the only organ in your body that if it's diseased and you stop diseasing it and giving whatever's causing it, it can actually heal itself and regenerate over time. So that's just a little tidbit. And you need your liver, trust me. It is the dump for everything in your body. If you need a doctor, don't hesitate to go. If you're feeling like you're having a heart attack, don't hesitate to go. But don't just make snap decisions in your life and say, oh, I think I'll go get a physical, and just go see anybody. Find the right doctor to give you the right physical. I understand there are definite emergencies, but after that, there's not. I thought when I took Francesca into the Cleveland Clinic, it was the best one of the best in the country, as a matter of fact. And they were the biggest clowns, messed up people I had ever seen in my entire life, and they had no clue at all what happened. I actually think they all went in at lunchtime and bought a box of Cracker Jacks and popped it open, and once they got through the caramel corn and the peanuts, they found this little thing at the bottom, and it was a toy surprise. And when they tore it open, it says, congratulations, you graduated from Cracker Jack Medical University as a doctor of stupidity. And that's what they carried around as their badge of honor. And I truly believe that, because I've seen the most arrogant, sarcastic, nasty doctors that could not give one rat's ass about a client one way or another. I have still yet to this day to see a compassionate doctor. And that's what it's supposed to be about, helping the human being. And you don't do it. So give these some thoughts. The next time you go to a doctor, or the next time something happens to you, just don't walk in blind. If you do, you're liable to be blind by the time they're done with you, and you're going to be missing a few other things on top of it. So keep that in mind, and I wish you all great health and a happy evening. God bless, and JD's Corner. We are out. Mwah.